Tonight, let's step into the quiet halls of Hogwarts, where the firelight flickers and the portraits whisper. You're not just a visitor here, you're a new student, wrapped in the warmth of your house common room. Outside, the castle settles into the hush of night, but there's a story waiting just for you. A story about a hidden corridor, a forgotten spellbook, and a mystery that only you can unravel. Close your eyes, let your breathing slow, and let's drift into this enchanted tale together. The weight of the sorting hat settles on your head, its brim soft against your forehead. Around you, the great hall feels distant, the murmurs of students fading into the hum of old magic. The hat smells of aged leather and something faintly earthy, like parchment stored in oak barrels for centuries. Its rim twitches slightly, as if adjusting to the shape of your thoughts. You expected a quick decision: Gryffindor, Hufflepuff, Ravenclaw, or Slytherin, but the hat stays quiet, not silent exactly. You hear a faint whispering, not in your ears but in your mind, like someone turning the pages of a book in another room. The pause stretches, and for the first time in years, the sorting hat hesitates. It happens rarely, only when a student's path isn't clear, when the threads of their future run along more than one house's colors. The common rooms flicker in your mind, the warmth of Gryffindor's hearth, the scent of herbs in Hufflepuff's kitchens, Ravenclaw's starry ceiling humming with riddles, Slytherin's green-tinted windows reflecting the lake. The hat lets you linger there, weighing them. But then something shifts. It's not just about bravery, loyalty, wit, or ambition. There's something else, a quietness in you, a way of noticing things others miss. The hat makes a low, thoughtful sound, almost like a hum. Then it murmurs so low only you can hear. Ah, yes, I see now. The voice is old but not unkind. It reminds you of a librarian who knows every book in their care. You listen to corners of the castle others walk past. You hear the portraits sigh and the staircases creak their stories. Not many do that anymore. The hat adjusts again, and you catch a whiff of candle wax and dried ink. Lave around you the hall waits. The enchanted ceiling shows a soft night sky, stars peeking through drifting clouds. Somewhere a bench creaks as a first year shifts in place. The hat exhales, though it has no lungs, and its voice curls warmly in your mind. Better be Hufflepuff. The last word carries a chuckle, a secret between the two of you. The table of black and gold erupts in cheers, but beneath them you hear the hat's final whisper. You'll find what you're looking for near the third floor tapestry. Pay attention to the way the flames dance. Then the hat is lifted away, and you're swept toward your new house, toward the cozy glow of the Hufflepuff common room, where the round door smiles at your approach. But the hat's words linger, tugging at your thoughts like a loose thread. What lies behind the third floor tapestry? And why did the firelight matter? You won't find those answers here, not yet, but soon. For now, you let yourself sink into the warmth of your new home, where the air smells of baking bread and the sofas welcome you like old friends. The hum of conversation wraps around you, but part of your mind stays elsewhere, listening, waiting, already turning toward the quiet mystery waiting in the shadows. A faint glow catches your eye as you pass an alcove on your way back from herbology. The third floor corridor stretches ahead, quiet except for the soft creak of moving portraits. You slow your steps. The Sorting Hat's words come back to you. The mention of a tapestry. This one hangs slightly crooked, its edges frayed with age. The woven scene shows a group of medieval witches and wizards at a feast, their goblets raised in silent celebration. The glow comes from behind it, a thin line of light near the floor. The corridor feels different here. The usual hum of the castle, the whispers of portraits, the distant chatter of students, fades into a hush. Even your breath sounds louder. You reach for the tapestry's edge. The fabric is softer than you expected, the threads warm under your fingers. As you lift it, the woven figures seem to shift. One witch winks at you before raising her goblet again. Behind the tapestry, the wall isn't solid. A narrow gap curves away into darkness, just wide enough to slip through. The air smells faintly of rain-soaked stone and something green, like leaves left in sunlight. You step inside. Your shoulder brushes the wall, cool and slightly uneven, as if worn smooth by countless hands over centuries. The passage isn't on the Marauder's map. You know because you checked. The glow ahead comes from no visible source. It clings to the walls like mist, pulsing softly. Your footsteps don't echo. The silence presses close, but it isn't heavy. It feels held, like the castle is keeping a secret just for you. Halfway down, the passage curves, and the tapestry's light fades behind you. The darkness should feel frightening, but it doesn't. It's the kind of dark that wraps around you, the way your blankets do on a cold night. A whisper brushes past your ear. Not words, but the ghost of them. Some say students have stumbled into this passage before, though none remember quite how they found it. Others say it only appears when someone truly needs it. The air stirs, carrying the scent of burning cedar. You think of the hat's mention of firelight. The corridor ends at a rounded door, its wood dark with age. A simple iron handle rests at its center. No lock, no keyhole. The door opens silently, and warmth spills out. Inside, the room is small, just enough space for a single armchair, a low table, and a fireplace where embers glow without wood to feed them. The flames burn green at their edges, shifting in lazy patterns. A shelf runs along one wall, holding a handful of books with cracked spines. Their titles are faded, but a few words catch your eye. Moonlight, sheets of rain, the tick of clocks. The chair sighs as you sit, its cushions molding to your shape. The firelight paints moving shadows on the walls. If you watch long enough, they almost form shapes. A bird in flight, a branch swaying, a hand reaching. You blink and they're gone. The warmth seeps into your sleeves, your skin. Outside this room, the castle moves on. Students head to dinner, staircases shift, ghosts glide through walls. But here, time slows. Haspi. A whisper of wind curls through the room, though there are no windows. It carries the faintest hum, like someone singing under their breath. You lean back, letting the chair hold you. Whatever magic lives in this place, it feels old, not forgotten, just waiting. The fire crackles softly, its embers settling. One glow lingers longer than the others, bright as a star, before fading into the dark. Haspi. Haspi. Your fingers brush the armrest, tracing a groove carved into the wood. Initials, perhaps, or runes. The air smells like parchment and the faintest hint of lemon drops. Somewhere beyond the door, a clock chimes, but the sound feels distant, muffled. The fire's glow softens, pulsing like a heartbeat. Haspi. On the table, something catches the light. A book you didn't notice before. Its cover is darker than the others, the leather worn smooth at the edges. When you lift it, the pages rustle on their own, flipping to a passage marked by a silvery ribbon. The words shimmer before settling into place. Haspi. Sleep, they read, is just another kind of magic. The book sits at the far end of the shelf, its spine cracked with age. The leather cover feels soft under your fingers, worn smooth by years of handling. No title marks its surface, just faint impressions where gold lettering once gleamed. The pages have yellowed at the edges, their corners slightly curled. When you lift it, dust drifts into the air, catching the firelight like tiny sparks. The book is lighter than it looks, almost as if it wants to be held. A whisper of movement comes from its pages. The book stirs in your hands, the parchment shifting on its own. The leaves separate, then slow, resting on a page near the middle. The ink has faded in places, but the words remain clear. At the top, written in an elegant sloping hand, "For restless nights and quiet dreams." Below, a spell unfolds in careful script. Not the sharp, commanding Latin of most charms, but something gentler. Old English, perhaps, or a language even older. The words curve across the page like ripples in water. You trace a finger along the first line. A warmth hums beneath the parchment, as if the ink still holds some trace of the wizard who wrote it. The instructions are simple. No wand required, just breath and intention. "Speak these words when the hour grows late," it reads, "and let the night hold you." The margins hold small sketches, a crescent moon, a closed eye, a hand outstretched as if reaching for something unseen. The book sits heavy with secrets. Hogwarts has known countless spellbooks over the centuries. Some were burned in purges of dangerous magic. Others vanished into the restricted section, never to be seen again. But this one feels different. It doesn't belong to the library's strict categories. It speaks of softer things, of hearths and hushed voices, of blankets drawn close against the cold. The kind of magic that slips through the cracks of history, passed from student to student in whispers. A faint sound makes you look up. A sigh, or maybe the settling of the fireplace. The book's pages flutter again, turning to another section. Here, the writing changes. The letters grow tighter, more hurried. "Beware the charm that lingers too long," a note warns in the corner. It calls to things best left sleeping. The warning isn't frightening, just a reminder that all magic has edges, even the gentle kind. You turn back to the first spell. The firelight paints the words gold for a moment, making them swim before your eyes. The ink seems to darken as you read, as if waking from centuries of rest. A breath escapes you, stirring the page. The book responds with a faint pulse of warmth, like a hand pressing gently against yours. The charm itself is nothing dramatic. No flashes of light, no sudden changes in the air. But as you murmur the words, the room seems to settle around you. The fire's crackling softens. The shadows in the corners deepen, but not in a way that feels unwelcome. It's as if the spell simply reminds the world to slow down, to let the night be what it's meant to be. When you finish, the book stills in your lap. The pages no longer rustle. Whatever magic lives inside it has done its work, at least for now. A single line at the bottom of the page catches your eye, written in a different hand than the rest. Gifted to the castle by one who knew the weight of sleepless nights. No name follows, just a small drawing of a bird in flight, perhaps an owl, or something more mythical. You close the book gently, feeling the leather sigh under your palms. The warmth lingers, cradled in the space between your hands and the cover. Outside the hidden room, the castle ticks on, clocks marking the hour, stairs shifting in their endless dance. But here, with the forgotten spellbook in your hands, time feels softer. The air smells like old paper and the faintest trace of lavender, though none grows nearby. The fire pops once, sending up a twist of emerald sparks. They twist in the air before dissolving into the dark. Somewhere beyond the door, A portrait murmurs in its sleep. The book sits quiet now, but you know its magic hasn't left. It simply waits for the next restless night, the next student who finds their way here. You set it back on the shelf, watching as the spine blends once more with the shadows. But the memory of the spell lingers in your mind, its words humming just beneath your thoughts. The charm feels less like something you learned and more like something you remembered, a piece of magic that was always meant for you. The book's last gift is the quiet understanding that some spells aren't cast so much as welcomed, like an old friend returning home. The shelf sighs as the book settles into place. A whisper of air brushes past your ear, almost like a thank you, or maybe a promise. You turn back to the fire, where the embers glow steady and warm. Outside, the castle hums its endless song. But in this small, hidden room, the world feels still, wrapped in the kind of quiet that only comes when magic and night meet just right. The spellbook has shared its secret. Now it's your turn to carry it into the dark. The portrait hangs slightly crooked on the wall of the hidden nook. Its frame is simple, dark wood worn smooth at the edges. The witch inside it sits in a high-backed chair, her hands folded in her lap. At first glance, she seems asleep, her eyelids drooping. Then one eye cracks open, and she winks at you with a slow, deliberate blink. Her smile is small but warm, the kind of smile that says she knows something you don't. She leans forward in her chair, the movement smooth despite the age of the paint. The colors shift slightly as she moves, deep blues pooling in the folds of her robe, the silver threads in her hair catching the firelight. "You found the book," she murmurs. Her voice is soft like wind through leaves. "Not many do anymore." She tilts her head, studying you. "You remind me of a student from long ago. Tiny thing. Always wandering where she shouldn't." Portraits in Hogwarts have their own kind of magic. They hold memories, echoes of the people they depict. Some merely repeat phrases trapped in loops of time. Others, like this witch, seem to think and feel. Her eyes are too knowing to be mere paint. The fat lady guards Gryffindor Tower. Sir Cadogan boasts of his exploits. But this portrait has no title, no grand purpose. She simply watches, waits, remembers. "The castle keeps its secrets," she continues, smoothing her skirts. "Some of us were painted to help. Others, well," she chuckles, the sound like dry pages turning. "Let's just say we know things the living have forgotten." Behind her, the painted background shifts. A flicker of candlelight appears on an unseen table, then fades. She hums a few notes under her breath, a tune you don't recognize but somehow know deep in your bones. History whispers through the portrait. The founders enchanted the first Hogwarts paintings, giving them fragments of their subjects' personalities. Over centuries, witches and wizards added more, some imbued with strong magic, others merely decorative. But the best portraits, the truly aware ones, often hide in quiet corners. They remember students long graduated, spells long unused, doors long sealed. This witch seems to hold on to all of it. She leans closer, the edge of her frame creaking faintly. "There was a girl," she says, her voice dropping. "Small, like I said. Hair like yours, maybe. She couldn't sleep either." The witch taps her temple. "Too much noise up here. Even the castle's magic couldn't quiet it." The fire pops, sending shadows dancing across her face. For a moment, the paint seems to ripple, showing the girl she remembers. A fuzzy outline, gone in a blink. The portrait hums again, the tune fuller now. The melody is simple, repetitive, the kind that loops in your head long after it ends. Helga Hufflepuff sang it, the witch explains. To her students, when the nights grew long, the words are lost, but the tune remains. She sings softly, her voice wavering like an old recording. The notes wrap around you, settling into the quiet corners of the room. They don't force sleep. They invite it, like pulling up a blanket on a cold night. You catch yourself swaying slightly with the rhythm. The song has no real structure, no clear beginning or end. It simply is, steady as a heartbeat. The portrait watches you with half-lidded eyes, her fingers keeping time on the arms of her chair. The paint there is worn thin, as though generations of students have leaned in just like this, listening to the same lullaby. When the last note fades, the witch leans back with a contented sigh. It works better than any charm, she admits. Magic fades, but music? She taps her chest where a heart would be. That stays. The frame creaks again as she settles into her chair, her form softening at the edges as the firelight dims. Her eyes drift shut, but her lips curl in that same knowing smile. The castle sings it sometimes, she murmurs, already half asleep herself. Listen for it in the pipes, in the sigh of the staircases, especially after midnight. Beyond the portrait, the hidden room breathes with you. The fire's crackle matching your slowing heartbeat, the faint scent of beeswax and dried roses lingering in the air. The witch's final hum lingers too, just at the edge of hearing, woven into the quiet like a thread through cloth. The lullaby isn't gone. It's simply waiting for the next sleepless soul to find their way here, to this crooked portrait and its timeless song. Outside, the castle continues its night. Somewhere a clock chimes. The wind pushes at the windows. But here, in this small space, the world feels still. The portrait sighs in her sleep, her painted chest rising and falling in a steady rhythm. The last note of the lullaby hums in the air between you, soft as a breath against your ear. It tells you without words that some comforts never fade, that even ancient magic remembers how to be gentle. The fire burns low, its embers pulsing in time with the witch's quiet snore. The song may be centuries old, but tonight it belongs to you. Emerald flames, in the common room fireplace dance low and steady, casting green-gold shadows across the stone walls. The heat reaches you even from across the room, wrapping around your shoulders like an invisible shawl. This isn't an ordinary fire. Hogwarts hearths burn with magical flames that never consume their logs, though the wood still cracks and pops with reassuring sounds. The scent is different too, something crisp and clean beneath the familiar smokiness, like mint leaves tossed into a campfire. You sink deeper into your armchair, watching as the firelight paints moving patterns on the ceiling. One of the logs shifts, sending up a sudden spiral of sparks. They twist in the air before fading, but not entirely. The glow lingers at the edges of your vision, forming shapes that almost make sense before dissolving again. The flames themselves flicker in an odd rhythm, pulsing like a slow heartbeat. Wizarding fires have their own rules. The Floo network connects homes and businesses through fireplace travel, though the system isn't perfect. Students hear stories of botched connections, people ending up in the wrong chimney, conversations echoing through multiple grates at once. But Hogwarts fires are different. Protected by ancient enchantments, they obey the castle's deeper magic. Some say the flames react to nearby emotions, flaring with excitement during Quidditch victories or dimming to embers during exam stress. Tonight the fire seems watchful. The emerald glow intensifies for a moment, then softens again. The flames stretch upward, twisting together into a single ribbon of light. It coils like smoke but holds its shape. the tip drifting toward you almost curiously. You feel no heat from it, just a faint tingling against your skin, like standing near a charged wire. The fire isn't burning, it's listening. The flames ripple suddenly, pulling apart before reforming into new shapes, first a flickering owl in mid-flight, then the curve of a question mark. The magic thrums in the air, pressing gently against your eardrums. Fire speaking isn't taught at Hogwarts anymore. It's an old art, difficult to master safely. But the castle remembers, and sometimes, when the night is quiet enough, the fires choose to communicate in their own way. A log collapses in a shower of green sparks. The flames surge upward, their light throwing stark shadows across the room. For a heartbeat, the fire holds perfectly still. Then it exhales a plume of shimmering smoke that forms the unmistakable outline of a dragon. Not the fierce, roaring kind from storybooks, but a creature at rest, its wings folded along its back. The smoke dragon curls around itself, head tucked under one wing in peaceful slumber. Its sides expand and contract in time with your breathing, as though mirroring you. The image holds for several long breaths before dissipating into the air. The fire settles back to its normal crackling, the emerald glow softening to a gentle shimmer. The warmth surrounds you, heavy and comforting now. Your eyelids drift lower without intent, muscles unwinding as the heat seeps into your bones. Legend says Hogwarts fires were first lit with dragon's breath. Not the violent bursts of anger, but the steady warmth of sleeping beasts. The castle's oldest hearths supposedly carry traces of that magic still. It would explain why the flames sometimes move with purpose, why they seem to understand more than mere fire should. The armchair cradles you as you yawn, the heat and quiet working their slow magic. Across the room, the fire pops once more, sending up a final twist of green-gold sparks. They spiral lazily toward the ceiling before winking out. The shadows they leave behind are soft at the edges, blending into the room's natural darkness. Your fingers twitch against the chair's armrests, but you don't open your eyes. The fire's message lingers in the back of your mind. The dragon at rest, the deliberate, wordless comfort. The embers glow steadily now, their light pulsing like a distant lighthouse through heavy fog. Between one breath and the next, you feel yourself sinking deeper into the cushions, the fire's warmth a steady hand on your shoulder. Somewhere beyond the common room, the castle's nightly noises continue. The creak of moving staircases, the distant whoosh of a ghost passing through walls. But here, by the hearth, the world narrows to the sound of crackling wood and your own slowing breaths. The fire keeps watch, its embers burning low and constant, guarding the quiet hours until morning. The last thing you register before sleep takes you is the faintest scent of something ancient and warm, like sun-baked stones or a dragon's sleepy sigh, before the darkness pulls you under completely. As you drift off tonight, remember Hogwarts never truly sleeps. It watches over all who walk its halls. The castle's magic lingers in whispered portraits, enchanted blankets, and starlit towers, just waiting for those who need it most. Now it's your turn. Close your eyes and imagine yourself there, wrapped in shadow and firelight, cradled by centuries of spells. Let the quiet settle around you like falling snow. Wherever you are, the same peace exists. The same stars shine. Breathe deep and let yourself be held by the night. Tomorrow can wait. For now, just rest. The magic will still be there when you wake.